Good afternoon everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're well. Welcome back to New Zealand. It's been a little while since we were last here, this wonderful part of the world. Place I'd really love to go in real life if it wasn't so far away. But we're here to explore this, Palmerston North, a relatively new scenery. It's been released over a couple of weeks now by, I think, X-Wind, and it's available on iniBuilds. So we'll be departing here at this rather nice small regional New Zealand airport, Palmerston North. And the aim today, time permitting, is for us to complete two hops around the North Island of New Zealand. So heading out of Palmerston North up to Rotorua and then off to Napier to finish a kind of a two-sector whiskey hop on the VATSIM network and Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you're new to the channel, it's great to have you on board with us today. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And we are switching it up a little different today as well, because we're not in a typical airliner. In fact, we're in, for the very first time, the SWS PC-12 Legacy, which has been out now for around about a week. I enjoyed previewing it just prior to its release, and it's an aircraft that has a lot to learn. Or I've got a lot to learn with it, to be fair. It's a complex aircraft, which is a little different to what I'm used to. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. Zato, welcome. Badger, Aaron, hello guys. Great to see you. Living on a player, welcome buddy. Doesn't show buffering on my side, Rab. Although for some reason it wants me to stream at 14,000 kilobytes per second, which is wild, because usually it's about 8,000 to run it at 2K 60 frames for me, but we'll see what happens. Manawatu, I assume, is the Maori name for Palmerston North. Somebody with more local knowledge might know otherwise and guide us in the correct direction with that. DSL Senna, welcome. So there's not really much to explore and see with this scenery. We've got a nice little car park and that very small little terminal building, as we could see there. Nice apron texturing, and then a general aviation area as well. Over off there in the corner, along with that fire station. That's kind of it really. Palmerston North, a very small airport, and there is a little grass runway there, marked by the whiteboards, as well as the asphalt runway 2. I'm not sure which one I fancy taking off on, to be fair. We could do either. Probably the asphalt though, to play it safe. And we are over here. Stand 2, I think, or stand 3, I forget which. We are in the PC-12. Oscar Hotel, Foxtrot Uniform Kilo is our registration today. It's one of the Fly 7, I think, executive airlines, a real registration as well. Aaron, hello buddy. No problem at all. Very nice. Who else we got in the live chat? We got Yudi, Adam, engineer on board, Christos, Nausicaa, welcome guys. There's one of the folks raring to go, waiting patiently there in that Tradewind livery. And here we are. It's a genuine registration as well, so it's not one I've made up. It is an actual aircraft which is used in the real world. Now, what you're going to see today is my 4th ever flight, I think. I forget which. In this aircraft. So, I'm still very much a noob and learning this as best as I can. So, we're going to be kind of exploring various features with it today and continuing that learning process. So, no doubt throughout the journey, the two sectors, many mistakes will be made. And we'll be referring to the manual that SWS have provided and a little checklist as well that they have provided inside the add-ons documentation folder as well. So that's what we're going to use for the base of our operations today. Now let's dive into the flight deck. And here we are. Obviously, if we tick this, you get these kind of covers as well. Those of you who saw my preview video prior to its release might recognise some of these features that we'll go through today briefly. I haven't actually flown it since that preview video, so there's lots to learn. One of the things I have learned is that this gust lock here, when you click it to remove it, it stays, quote, in hand. So what you actually have to do is head down here and there's a little hook. That'll become active as a click spot. You click it and that little gust lock there and the pin just here, that will drop into there and it will stow away rather nicely. We're on VATSIM today as well, so we're going bold, we're going big. Oops, Choffineck. And let's get on with it. So, got to watch the key spots, the click spots in this. Where's my checklists? Ian, hello buddy, says it's me you've got to watch out for. I'll be keeping my eye on you for sure. So I've done most of the pre-flight checks, making sure the landing gear handles down, the circuit breakers are in, the battery switches are checked as well, and the lights are checked. So we've done that kind of quote-unquote external walk around. We can check the boost pumps as well if we want to. I've already done that. I might do it again just to show you guys how that works. And the oxygen supply handle can go on towards the end of that now. Done. Okay, so the before start checks then. The control wheel lock, which is this, removed. So we click it, we get rid of it, and it's in hand at the moment, but if we click here, it gets stowed and placed out of the way, which is quite nice. Big Phil, welcome, and BAE, hello to you. Doc on board, good evening, and Zato, welcome. Yeah, the grass runway is a very short runway, but this can do some short runway ops. Flap 30 for takeoff. It's a very capable aircraft. But as I said, we're going to use asphalt today to keep it simple and smooth. Parking brake, we've got to make sure is set. It is. There it is. That animation there. Cruise seatbelts and seats adjusted and secure. Overhead switches are all off, and the standby bus can go on. So we're beginning to supply power to the aircraft. De-icing switches inner, SEP open. Cooling and heating off. Seatbelts and seatbelt signs as required. We'll pop those on. They are animated in the back, as you can see. As you can't see, in fact, but we might see that in a moment. And we've got the TDS GTNXI today to help us navigate, and it's a really good aircraft kind of suite. We need to put our route in and things as well. We'll go through that in a short while.
System test okay.
Going through its own little sort of mini tests. Commentator, hello, welcome. Where were we? EPS switch. Did we do that earlier on? Test and armed. There we are. Green light for the battery test. And then we'll arm that. ECS switch is off. That's here on the right hand side. That is already in the off position. Friction lock's already been checked. MOR, PCL and condition lever. All back. So it's the red lever, the throttle and the condition lever there. The white handled one. All in the rearward position. Battery switches. Battery 1 on. Battery 2 online. Nav lights already on. And external power as required, but whilst it kind of simulates it, the manual says it's in op, so I'm not really sure if it does have it or not. The GSX profile for this, there isn't one, so when you call the GPU goes inside the plane. It's all a little bit weird and messy, so we'll avoid that. We'll just run it off battery for now. Fuel quantity and totalizer checked and reset. Now at the minute, it's all showing kind of nothing for now. If we have a little look at the weight and balance tab of the sim, however, I've gone ahead and already kind of planned a lot of this. Although we might need to just do a little bit of twiggling. So 70. That'll do. It's as close as we can get to keep it balanced. And our fuel at the moment there, 611 kilos, payload 376. Where are we? Landing gear position lights. So the handle's down and we've got 3 green. And then we can think about engine start in a short while. But what we will first do is start to build our waypoints and our routes. So we are off first leg to Rotorua, NZRO. And this TDS GTNXI makes it really, really easy to configure. So we go Palmerston North, insert after, a PT, fast find allows us to just hit the button that we can see is the one that we want, and then we want to load airway. So we're going to go to the Hotel 364 to Rotorua, load airway, Hotel 280 to Alpha Papa Torpo, load. From there, AP, load airway, Hotel 310 to Isgit, load, and we are done. And then we're expecting, I think, runway 36 into Rotorua, I believe. I'm just going to check the METAR. 350 at 3. Okay, jolly good. So we can add in our departure, Palmerston North, load procedure, departure, and we want the Dudley 3 Quebec, runway 07. Cruise today for us is flight level 190. Dudley 3 Quebec. Stand by. Let me just have a quick flick around on the charts here. Haven't got the live chat open at the moment because I've only got the 2 screens, so I've run out of screen space. Dudley, SIDS. What's it giving me? 2 Sierra. It's not even an option. Four Sierra, 4 Tango. Alright, we'll click it anyway, we'll just see what happens. We'll go for 2 Quebec. And a PT, wasn't it? Oh, runway 07, low departure. I think there's a discrepancy there. Ovrun, Lulco, and a PT. So that matches that. And that's the 3 Quebec. Rather confusing. But anyway, load departure. That's what we want. So running that all the way down to Rotorua. And we can also load the procedure in here. The arrival is going to be Circ 3 Bravo. There she is. And the transition... Trying to find it now. Is it something? Where is it? Live streams. Come on. Actually, we've got a slightly different routing, haven't we? So Ledac 3 Charlie, I think, but Isgit is the one we want. For runway 36. It won't allow us to choose anything else, but we'll load that for now, and we'll go from there. And then we'll chat about it en route and work it all out, because we can change stuff on the fly with this. It's a very good little system. So runway 07 to Dudley, and we can add in, if we wish, some of the constraints just to allow us some headroom, but we don't need anything there until a PT, and it's already got that in at or below 10,000, which is good. Eva Lisa, hello buddy, welcome, welcome. Yeah, 18. I don't know. I'm looking at the METAR from the VATSIM feed, and it's 350 degrees at 3 knots. So I'm going for 3.6 for now, just to see what we get, and then we'll go from there. So that's all done. On the map we can zoom out as well. We can see our routing like so. So up to Dudley first. It's a nice straight out departure, which keeps things fairly simple for us. Climbing this is about 150 knots. We'll be climbing in IAS mode. I'm trying to remember all the things with this, the quirks. And we'll just go from there. Right, where are we? David, hello buddy. Pop that on. And we've got to make sure all our doors and things are closed. So, various animations, that click spot becomes active if that handle there is in the open position, which is quite nice. Lots of different options here as well, because if you click the safety card, where is it? If you click the safety card there, what it does is it rotates the seats. If you click these, they rise as well, which is quite smart. You can click the table, and that folds in and out as well. So it's quite smart. Same with this. The the blinds are animated. Part of me says, in a way, is it even necessary? You know, do we need to simulate a cabin like this? But it's a small aircraft, and performance is quite good. So on that basis, I guess we can, yeah. Right. Next up. Battery switch on. Fuel quantity totalizer, beacon, and start switch. So we can pop this. Check left and right. Good old shout of clear prop. Get rid of that. Does my head in. And what are we doing? Let's see. I'm trying to remember now. So it's going to be condition lever goes forwards once the ITT rises nicely. The NG's at a certain figure. Beacon light is on. And then Gen 1 followed by Gen 2 get activated. Standby bus is on. Alrighty, so ignition's automatic, pumps are on automatic, and prop start. Pause the music. Let's have a listen to this. So what we're doing is watching the NG rise. As it goes through 20, what we want to do is move that condition lever forward to ground idle. And she begins. Now, one of the things to bear in mind with this is if you do that too quickly, you'll hot start it, which we don't want, naturally. Sounds quite good. It's a very peaceful cabin environment, isn't it? Certainly are these kind of softer levels of RPM. Let's pop the avionics on, and then Gen 1, Gen 2. External power is off. Standby bus can be flicked off. Cooling and heating as required. We'll just leave them as it is at the moment. We can do system on. We can put recirc on. Fans, different options here, high and low. And you can hear them spooling up in the background. It's quite cool. And then we're looking for... Just activate this. It's going to do a TAWS test there. You can see we'll probably hear something else announced in a moment. So, what are we at? EPS light is out, and then ECS switch to automatic. We can also think about setting our cabin pressure in a short while, but we will do that before taxi. We've still got a few bits left to do with all the pre-flight stuff. I'm going to hide that yoke. I'm going to make sure this is on nav. It's on GPS 1 there. That's fine actually. We'll leave that like so. And we're just going to set the heading bug to runway heading. We've got the left-hand instrument down here set to GPS 1 as well. And the lower buttons there set to nav if we want to tune some VORs and things. Not that there are any here actually, I don't think. And it's an RNAV departure, so all good. QNH set 1022. Quick terrain
system okay.
test. And we can fiddle the temperature if we want to as well. We'll put it on a bit of a middling kind of cool zone. I'm not sure, SimLover, it doesn't seem to work, does it? The CL SimAware map. Right, flat 15. Down it goes. And we can pop some cabin lights on as well, which are rather nice. Okay, so before taxi checks, we're going to do things like the pusher test. That's effectively what we're going to do now. So both the yokes are on and displayed. That's all set to norm. So we've set flat 15. We need to go to the pusher test now, activate that, and with flat 15 set, what we do is we advance the throttle slightly, just a little bit, and you can see it begins to shake, goes forwards. When it goes in, it's supposedly meant to allow us to rotate. Where is it? It's this interrupt button over here. Push to interrupt, which is that one. There we go. It should allow us to pause that stick shaker and do some control checks. And then we can get rid of that and turn the pusher test off. And that's the pusher test complete, I think. I'm trying to remember the exact steps now, but I'm pretty sure that was it. It's been a little while since I've flown this, and it's been released for a few weeks since. Avionics then are pretty much set. We've got the map and everything all ready to go. We are going to Squawk 2000 for now because we are flying IFR today, IFR. We'll leave that on standby, and we'll make sure that the NDBs are, well, at least the Bendix radio is on for that. What should we put in this one? I think traffic will be quite good. So we've got GPS, departure is selected as the mode, the active mode. Altitude pre-select we'll set to 10,000.
Radio check.
Readability 5 and Osprey 165, Hammy.
Thank you very much. I read you 5 as well.
Hello Brandon, welcome, Pilot Studs. Transponder flight ID, cabin pressure controller. The autopilot test switch there, by the way, doesn't do anything, so you can't press it. Even though it's in their checklist, it doesn't do anything, which is a bit odd. Cabin altitudes, so SL for sea level, and it's increments of 1,000, so that is 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And you can keep scrolling all the way around until it goes to 10, and it doesn't go any higher than that. Now, what you might notice is we're cruising at 19,000 today. So we're going to set that there because of the smaller increments down there. So that's done. GPS 1, GPS 2, so we're not going to tune any of those just yet. We've got no CAWS. We could do a little test of this as well if we want to. We should have done that earlier, I think. They've gone into quite a lot of detail with this, and it's a very complex aircraft. Even though it's small, there's a lot to it. Right, where are we? So that's before tax. So taxi checks. We're going to make sure all our control surfaces are free and correct. Hello Peter, welcome buddy, I hope you're well. The rudder is linked to the ailerons as well, by the way, so if you deflect the rudder you get aileron deflections as well. And that will reduce depending on how much speed you gain through takeoff, for example. Flight insurance checked, flight director set to go around. There's the flight director. It's in roll mode at the moment, that's fine. We'll arm nav. And we'll arm the altitude at 10,000. So altitude preselect set and armed, heading bug set and armed, electric trim set for takeoff. Depends on your centre of gravity here. These are your little trim indicators. So at the moment it's in that green diamond. I'm actually going to try and get it to favour a bit more of a nose down pitch. And we want to make sure that rudder trim is in that green zone, because the aircraft actually has got a tendency to steer right during, or just left I think, during the takeoff run. Which is another thing we have to manage carefully with this. And the aileron trim is set to neutral. I think we're ready. Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? I know what we need. Oxygen. Needs to go onto automatic. Have we got anything over on the right hand side with the old captain? The captain's mate, first officer? No. Rightio. Let's taxi. So, we're at Palmerston North. We're going to taxi all the way down Hotel to Hold Point Delta 1, and then we're going to backtrack down 07 and then take off. We'll use Echo 1, which is a little intersection there because we don't need the full length of this almost 2,000 metre runway. Up the top, taxi lights can go on. Recognition lights will leave off for now. Ignition's on automatic. They're all on and checked and set. There's the thing about icing as well. It's not in their checklist, but they suggest that you turn all of this on for a minute and then you turn it all off again. But it's operator dependent. So all these operators will deal with these ever so slightly differently. Dpod says one of the PMDG beta testers was spotted flying a 737 MAX near Payne Field. Therefore speculation's crazy right now. I love this community, it's great, isn't it? How else is he going to beta test? Palmerston North traffic, Osprey 165 from stand 3, taxiing to Hold Point Delta 107 via hotel. How have you found the actual landing behaviour of this pilot stud? Because I found it is quite difficult to get the hang of. If you don't get the speed just right, then I tend to veer off to the right. And it takes, I think more often than not that happens, but it takes some getting used to, like you say in the chat there. Okay, so we'll taxi away on idle. I'm also being a little bold because I'm tracking this on New Sky today, folks. About 25% of my flights in this have been successful. But it's great fun though.
I'll keep out of everyone's way.
There she is, in all her glory. Brakes are pretty good. Thanks, commentator. Chose it specifically. This is one of the included registration numbers of the aircraft, actually. The package, the add-on. So, after takeoff, we're going to be positive rate gear up. we're going to be looking at retracting the flaps through 100 knots and then allowing the aeroplane to accelerate to its climb speed of 150 knots, at which point we're going to make sure the yaw damper is active and nav mode is currently armed. We'll then enter speed mode at 150 knots, and then we'll turn the autopilot on. It's got this really nice tendency to try and sort of speed up on the sort of taxi out. So what you actually want to do, and I'm trying to get this just nice and smooth here, you just want to go into this little ground beta, and it just helps keep the speed off in the taxi. But again, because it's an aeroplane I'm just not used to, it's going to be interesting with the workload today. I thought we had another taxiway, but that's going off onto hotel. We want Delta 1, which is down here. Little board ahead of us for the grassed runway is a bit of a hold point. And all these circuit breakers are pullable. The electric systems are all kind of simulated quite nicely with what they've done. There's something to bear in mind. 067 is what we want for runway heading, so we'll set that on the heading bug. Delta 2 is coming up. What we'll do is we'll whack that on, whack the landing lights on and the recognition lights on. They're on automatic. Where's me checklists? Final items, flaps 15 and set. Lights as required, ice protection as required. We don't need any. Prop, windshield. We'll leave the probes on, however. Climb power. That's after takeoff. Inert set. I'm sure that needs to be closed at some point, at least in the one that I was looking at the other day. I'm just going to hold here for a second. We'll close it. Yeah, Jeff, there are issues with it. This is the very latest package. Ah, there we go, Jeff. Thank you, buddy. You know more than me. I'll take your word for it. We're going to pop out mode on. And through the wigwags. Palmerston North traffic, Osprey 165, PC-12 backtrack 07 from Delta 1.
Palmerston North traffic, Lattice 3 for Charlie, holding short, runway 07.
Alex, hello, buddy. He says, I say hello, buddy. It's no sound, so I'll type it in the live chat for him. There we go. That'll do us, won't it? So there's a bit of an uphill here. Actually, the aeroplane is struggling a wee bit on this uphill. Something to then bear in mind for the arrival as well, actually, for the takeoff run. And as Jeff is saying there have been issues with the TDS GTN XI with this aircraft. But this is the very, very latest version, which was released yesterday, I think it was, or at least provided to us yesterday, for like content creators to kind of explore and enjoy. And with that in mind, I think that's where we're at today. Let's get rid of this. It's a bit better, so we'll go track north. We'll do Echo 1. So I think they have fixed it. Apparently it's noticeably good, but or noticeably improved. And you guys will know my workload is super high because I'm fluffing all my words today. There's the windsock. It's a slight crosswind for us. And what we're going to do as well, punch that condition lever to flight idle. Rightio. Where's me checklist? I'm just going to hold it on the brakes for a moment. Climb power, pressurisation and engine instruments. Jolly good. Yeah, I can't see whoever's at Delta 1 either. Are you sure you're not on observer mode? I can see one there, but there's also... that's at Delta 3. Whoever's at Delta 1 isn't actually showing up. Might be on observer mode there. So that's Alt. TCAS traffic up. Right. Palmerston North traffic, Osprey 165 is taking off 07 Dadley 3 Quebec departure. Palmerston North. So, what we want to do here...
More traffic, Pilatus 34 Charlie, after the Osprey, Pilatus passes from left and right. We'll be backtracking runway 07 and holding.
Is brakes off, stick forward a little bit, and just gently increasing
traffic,
the throttle.
Aircraft currently backtracking on the runway. You will not visible to either myself or British Escape.
And we'll set takeoff thrust. So if you smash that too quick, what it does is it causes a few problems in relation to rotate speeds and things like that. There's the crosswind, just crabbing off as we rotate. And positive rate gear up. And Osprey 165's airborne. Through 100 knots already. This accelerates nice and quick, so we're going to clean the aircraft up, get rid of the flaps. I'm just letting the power come down, the torque come down a little bit. Yaw damper goes on, allowing the aeroplane just to come up to 150. As we reach 150 there, speed mode, autopilot. Nav speed and alt mode is armed. And he says he's been playing with the heat blur F14 and that's been really good. Yeah, not an aircraft that I've kind of got involved with, to be fair. Right, next bit on the checklist, what do we got? Landing lights. The taxi lights can go off. Flaps are already zero, ice protection as required. Climb power will set. Pressurization system is automatic and the pressurization is, well, the aircraft is pressurizing, or beginning to pressurize at the moment. We'll keep it going up to 19,000 through to cruise.
Palmerston North traffic, Pilatus 834 Charlie departing 25, runway heading.
So there's a lot with this aeroplane to get stuck into, and there's a hell of a lot to learn as well, because it is quite complicated as we've seen so far. The TDS GTNXI makes a lot of the in-flight stuff, the flight planning, that sort of thing, a bit more effortless than it otherwise would be with the other. Is it the GTN 750 or something like that? Can't remember what it's called now. But Working Title have done some great work there with that.
Pilatus 34 Charlie, airborne, 300 feet.
Palmerston traffic, last aircraft calling.
And it's something a bit different. That's Zato. I think you're not visible to anybody at all. Just make sure you're not on observer mode. To be fair, folks, as well, it might be his ping because he's got a very bad speed, internet speed today. Aaron, nice in the just flight 146 300 epic. Started this approaching to Gdansk.
It's got to be my internet service provider. This damn thing's been giving me issues.
So through 6,000 already at the moment, and we're looking for, what's the transition altitude here? 13,000 in New Zealand. This left turn here would be done at a maximum of 210 knots, but we are climbing at 150 because it's nice and slow, this aircraft, so we don't need to worry about that today. This is very different to the type of flying that we usually do on the channel, isn't it? And I think it's nice sometimes just to do something a bit different and a bit fresh than our norm. Tomorrow, we're diving back into the tube liners, because why not? We are going to be in the EasyJet A321neo, so using the Latin VFR's A321neo in conjunction with that really good Horizon Simulations add-on, which is freeware, and we'll be flying out of London Gatwick wearing orange for a little flight up to Keflavik, Reykjavik in Iceland, checking out the poor weather that's usually in that part of the world this time of year, and putting ourselves to the test. The A321neo is good fun because it has that longer fuselage. The chance of having things like tail strikes becomes a real thing. We've all seen that video of Neo Yankee, wasn't it? It was the British Airways A321neo, where they kind of stuffed up the landing a little bit because of wind shear. They applied toga to try and abort the landing and go around, but their touch and go ended up resulting in the pilot in command pitching back too much too quickly and ended up tail striking the jet. Automator, welcome back, buddy. David as well, good morning to you. If you haven't already booked Flight Sim Expo Las Vegas for 2024, the registrations are now open. If you're a Flight Sim Association First Officer, you get 10% off your ticket price, and if you're an FSA Captain, you get 20% off the ticket price. We've got a dedicated link which means that if you book using our link, which is in Discord and is on our YouTube community tab as well, it's a specific link just for us at this channel. What it does is it allows us to unlock additional benefits like food and beverage vouchers to put towards our stay across the event. So hopefully we all use the same code. I know there's at least 4 of us that have booked with it at the moment, which is good. We want to get at least 10. Big Phil says, will I be using the mini cockpits, mini FCU with the A321neo tomorrow? I'm not sure if it works that way, to be honest, with that particular aircraft. So we'll find out. We'll find out. The TDS GTN XI is mighty impressive. It's got this little blue arrow selection here, which is actually our Glide 2. So if, for example, we had an engine out and we needed to just glide to the nearest airport, that little blue line will take us there, which is really neat. David, nice. So who in the live chat then? Automator, David, have you guys booked with our channel's link as well? Or have you used the generic links that Flight Sim Association have put out? Oh, chuffing heck, what did I just click? Stupid Windows. I think I clicked QATL. Weird. Oh well, that's already on. Pilot Tris says, how good is this aircraft? Pretty good, to be fair. I really enjoy it. but it is so complicated when you're used to the airliners that actually you do have to give it time to try and work out how it all works. Really gives you a good appreciation of the level of simulation that they've put into this aeroplane as well. The checklist they provide is a bit confusing because it mentions items like test there for the autopilot panel, but that's inoperative. Same with the fire test, it mentions it, but I've not been able to get that to work either, so that looks like that's inoperative as well, but the rest of it's really, really good. David, I'm not sure, it's a very good question. I think it's counted as a booking, isn't it? So I think that would still be fine. Yeah, if you're going to watch online, then you should still be able to book it using the link. Although I don't think they'll be able to I don't think they'll be able to come to your house and supply you with food and beverage drinks. But every little helps. It should work. See the little autopilot electric trim flashing away there because it's working away in the background. Are we still going for 3.6? Ian's asking. Yeah, I think Doc said they used 1.8 for arrivals. Let's have a little look at the chart, see what we've got in here. Rotorua. Ah, David, boo. Departure procedures. Section of the missed approach. Yes, they've only got one approach for 3.6, and that is the RMP Yankee, and they've got various other approaches here. RNAV 1.8. One to go. This is a little altitude alert. You guys hopefully could hear that. Yeah, no worries, David. I think we put the link out on the day that FSA released the early booking system. I think one person managed to book with it still. Centurio, I think it was, actually used the link, still booked, and that still counts for him, which is good. But they didn't really explain it very well for any of us that have actually got our own kind of communities tracking links. But in effect, we're trying to build as many quote-unquote referrals because it unlocks a few perks for anyone using the link to have onto their ticket, like the food and beverage vouchers, for example. I can't find any reference to the fact that they must use... Oh, you know what I forgot as well, standard pressure. Quick flick of a switch there. We've got departure procedures. There's nothing about arrival procedures though. Yeah, it was, David. So we still provided the link, and the link allowed you to book as an FSA captain with that discount that they have, that first 200 to sign up, and then it would allow... It basically allowed them to have extra perks added onto their ticket as well. But if you didn't use it, it's no issue. It's no worries. This will probably be the only time I ever go to Flight Sim Expo as well, folks. So it'll be the only time we'll provide any form of kind of link or perks thing that we're doing for FS Expo. I've got literally nothing here in relation to runway 18 being the arrival runway, so I don't know where that's come from with Doc. What source have you got there? Because I can't find anything. Rotorua. So winds are now 060 at 3 knots. That's changed quite a bit. It was 350 at 3 earlier, and it's veered round to 060 easterly. 27 kilometres visibility, few clouds at 2,500, scattered at 6,000. 17 degrees. Temperature's dew point is 16 degrees. It's only a 1 degree spread in the QNH 1022. We'll see if it allows us to change the arrival. Low airways, charts traffic. Got the topography linked on there as well. Ledak 3 Charlie was the Chofinek was the other one, wasn't it? So let's see if it allows us via Iskit runway 18. Let's see if it really confuses this then. No, from Iskit, look, it's replaced that quite nicely. That's why this makes it so effortless. Just a switch runway like that, click of a finger. So we'll go for 18. Otherwise, I think all of you guys have planned for 18 as well, haven't you? So it will keep things nice and simple. Letter 3 Charlie. Let's get rid of the charts because it's in the way of your screens. 1228. Transponders addon. Now this aircraft is capable of a decent climb. I think it can climb up to nearly, is it nearly 30,000 feet from memory? I can't remember now. It's got an impressive cruise profile anyway. But it also allows you to fly a little low and slow. It's got this performance characteristics suitable for high altitude hops. So if for exploring around the Alps, for example, out of Samaden, and zipping around all these alpine kind of terrain airports, that's what the PC-12 was built for, which is pretty cool. And that's where this aircraft really starts to come into its own. Rodolfo, welcome buddy. Great to have you on board with us today. Thanks for joining. Top descent marker over there. So we want to try and sort our speed out a little bit and aim for nearly 200 knots, I think. So if I set torque to 30, NG near to about 95, though ITT's almost in the amber there. So we'll just let it stabilise there. We'll see what it does to our speed. Creeping up nicely. And we could also, if we really want to, pop the seatbelt sign off. Inert SEP didn't close. I think I needed to turn it off though. Automator, nice. Thank you very much. It's going to be quite fun. A, because it's Vegas. B, it'd be interesting to, it'd be quite fun meeting all of you guys. I'm looking forward to meeting, PMDG developers and iniBuilds and having a chat with Allbex in person and all that sort of stuff as well over the course of the weekend. By the way, if we wanted to dump all the cabin pressure now we could just flick the guard and hit dump, and it would do an emergency depressurization. And there is a tablet, but it's very odd. I can't work out why they've put it in here, because it was there in the preview version and I thought, fantastic, maybe this is going to be activated on release, but nope. The buttons there push in, they're animated, but it doesn't turn on. So I don't really understand why it's there. Could have just done with not putting a tablet there, because it's a bit confusing, isn't it? There is an emergency gravity release, hydraulics, SOV and fuel ECS handles, and the emergency gear, where is it? That's ELT's arms. Oh yeah, this moves as well. That's quite cool. I don't think there is an emergency gear release. I might be wrong. We've got alternate stab trim there. And we've got a toilet that flushes. I think that is the gear release there, isn't it? The hydraulic hand pump handle. That's going to be the crank and rotate, rotate, rotate. That sort of thing. Oh yes, Automator. Hopefully Microsoft have got some grand things for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Perhaps that's where we'll have some significant news. Maybe a little bit of an interesting one. Kind of session in that event with Microsoft. It could be quite an interesting one indeed. Yeah, amazing scenery over New Zealand. Andy, my goodness. Now in the cabin, depending on what weights you put in, if you put cargo in the back, you'll see some bags appear. If you had some cargo variants as well, you would you'd see this load up with boxes and things, crates. And if we added more weight, i.e. passengers, it would allow us to increase the passenger loads as well. But lots of little animations here on the seats. And as we saw at the start as well, you can take a seat, and then if you want to close the blinds, you can. So there's a few little functions and bits to fiddle around with. Oh, was that a little... No. This guy doesn't have a tray table like that person does. Gutted to be them. These do though. So you can kind of fiddle around and do all sorts of stuff inside the cabin. It keeps you busy. As we saw in the preview version as well, there are little kind of pull-out drawers that allow you to pop things out and have a look at a few things like the wine drawer. Again, a lot of people say, what's the point in that sort of thing? There were a few of the comments, in fact, that we got during the preview video, is why have they bothered doing this? And the toilet as well. So we close the flight deck door. That opens. Partition there flips as well if we want to. And the toilet seat lifts. And the toilet makes a flushing sound. There's no lavatory light that works or anything though. It's one of those kind of quirky little features that they put in. Job's a good one. Oh, Andy, very nice. Doc, yep. Cheers, thank you. I've had to drop my car off today. It's been a bit of a headache. My big infotainment system is completely broken. It's all a bit strange. So I have a Kia Stonic instead for the next 3-4 days, which is a bit of an average car. It's not too bad, to be fair, but now it also means that every time that they're opening and closing my car, I'm getting a ping on my phone saying my car has been left unlocked, which is a bit frustrating. Automator, yeah, I'm staying at the Tropicana. I've got one of the rooms there, which initially I didn't really think too much about, to be honest. I thought, you know what, I'll do that because it's easy. But now I've researched it, having already booked the hotel room, that it looks like a ruddy awful hotel, doesn't it? Like almost kind of falling apart. Which, from people saying in the live chat a few weeks ago, it sounds like the Tropicana is going to be knocked down at some point the year after. So Flight Sim Expo might well be the very last event there, but hey ho. I'll be flying out to Phoenix and then connecting from Phoenix off an A350-1000 onto a Southwest 737 to fly from Phoenix to Vegas. And then on the way back I'll be flying Phoenix to Vegas, Vegas to Phoenix in an American Airlines 737 before connecting on to my A350 flight back from Phoenix to Heathrow. Matthew says he thinks we need to convince PMDG to add Pac-Man or something like that onto the Universal Flight tablet in the 737. And just briefly we'll have a little look at the outside again, because I can see that top of descent marker starting to creep in on us. Yeah, stay clear of Spirit, Andy. I'm a bit worried about US domestic flights, to be honest. I haven't read many good things about them, so the fact I'm relying on them to be on time and on schedule to meet my connecting flight has me worried somewhat. Oh, I wish the drinks were free, Ian. That would be great. It does almost look a bit like a TBM, doesn't it, Rab? With its incredibly happy face. Which is a real kind of quirk of the styling of this. Matthew says Southwest for him is his favourite for short hops. Fly 737s give you free drinks and snacks. They also let you sit wherever you want depending on your boarding group. I think I had to pay for like a more expensive Southwest ticket to get the free drinks and snacks. And to get a higher priority boarding group, which meant that I could get into I can get on the aeroplane before most others so that I could get a window seat. It's the little things that matter. Right, what were we doing? We're doing 1.8, aren't we? So I need to change on Navigraph. We're getting well distracted chatting about FS Expo. We need to change all of this. So we had the Leader 3 Charlie, which is that one. Is skip. And then which approach? RP Zulu, which it can kind of do but can't really do. VOR DME, we could do a VOR approach. Hello Dwar, welcome buddy. You're here, that's all that matters. Delay Aviator says he's not into turboprops, but this plane looks really good. What should we do? VOR approach, or should we do the RMP and it will fly the LNAV element, and then we'll just turn the autopilot off and hand fly the approach? Should we just do that? Configure for the RMP, but no, not menu. I always think menu because of the MCDU, when actually it's not. We want procedures and approach here. LNAV and V. Interesting.
Vertical track.
Approach vertical guidance is advisory only. Use LNAV minimums. Load approach. Yes. LNAV minimums 1560 on the charts there. So that's all in there. Now, how do we set minimums? I can't remember. Utilities. Hold on, let me just go on to map very briefly. Okay, well now it's telling us we're already into descent, so what do we want? We want 3000. Quick look at my checks. Descent pressurization. Airport elevations of 1000 feet. So we'll go to arm. And we'll just use speed mode for now. Let's see. Soft right back course. Right, it's not having it. We'll go speed mode. That's a bit better. It's pretty much our mantra for today, Dwal. Flying an aeroplane that we're really not not used to. An appropriate registration, I think. A real registration, I might add as well, for those of you just tuning in. What do we have? We've got the Rotorua VOR 1121. That's RO and active. Where's my checklists? So, down here, pressure panel, we make sure this is set now to 1000. So we'll spin, 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 spin. Just shy of 1000 for 900 and something. Approach lights, recognition lights are on. They're still on there anyway. Radios and nav aids set and identified. Altimeters set shortly. Inertial separator, it needs to be open later on. We'll go to 1000 foot for that. Or thereabouts. I'm just going to bring the power down a bit more. Allow that nose to come down. 3,000 feet is armed. Now, one of the things with this is on the approach where it can get quite tricky. So, rudder trim has to be set one line left of the green zone for the approach. So, rudder trim is there. We need to actually correct it right slightly to this notch. Now, if we've got a significant crosswind from the right, then we want to actually make sure we go more slightly to the left on the rudder trim, and vice versa for the other direction. Looking at the manual there, so there's a lot of quirks to this that we have to try and bear in mind. When flying level and clean, flaps up and gear up, setting engine torque to 15 psi will yield us about 150 knots. With flap 15 and gear up, a torque setting of 20 psi will get us back to 150 knots. At 150 knots speed range, and I'm reading this from the manual, the nose down effect from the landing gear drag will cancel out the ballooning effect of flap 15 deployment. Therefore, lowering both at the same time will keep your nose pointed in the same place. So subtle movements on the controls, trim accordingly to help manage the energy of the aeroplane. Make sure we've got that rudder trim set, that's really important. And on approach, we want to finalise our torque setting around 9 to 12 psi, and we'll go for flap 30, and therefore targeting 95 to 105 knots. I'll round that to 100 knots so it's nice and easy in my brain. And we'll have to trim accordingly. Tips that they provide for flaring and touchdown: when crossing the fence, start bringing the power back. When over the numbers, we should be idle and 10 knots below our approach speed. At the touchdown point, you should hear the stall warning horn, and before applying beta or reverse, make sure we have full lateral control of the aircraft first. And when applying reverse, be ready to counter the left pull, and at 50 knots, exit reverse and apply the brakes. Oh yeah, no, I can't work it out. I can't remember off the top of my head how to do it. I'm looking around, but I can't see anywhere where we can put minimums. Flap 30 landing, Reese. Oh, DH. Bam. Okay, so we've got RA up there. Great. Shout, Reese boy. Thank you very much. Right, what do we got? RMP Zulu 18, 1560. Which actually we need to change. Well, I say that, but it's not actually allowing me to spin it. To change it, if that makes sense. Maybe I need to hide that one as well, or activate that one. No. Oh, it's there, and it's spinning, but little RA there isn't changing. I can't see it anywhere else. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, Reese boy. Press, spin. Press. In case I've turned it off. Nope. Not working. Even pressing and holding isn't doing anything for me. So it's that there, but it's just not working for us. Rotorua traffic, Osprey 165, currently 10,000 feet, going to QNH 1022 and down to 3,000 for the RMP approach, runway 18. We'll report final. Rotorua traffic. Yeah, there we go, nav. So we've still got a few thousand feet. Look, out to Napier.
Rotorua traffic, Osprey 77, descending through 10,000. Ledak 3 Charlie Royal for the RNAV Zulu 18.
Yeah, so it's there. It's kind of thinking about it, but it's not taking it, if that makes sense. So it doesn't matter. We'll just leave it. We'll go without. We know roughly what our minimums are, and it's going to be 1,000. Where has it gone? Chuffy neck. Click spots on my Navigraph charts are a bit problematic today. RMP Zulu 1,560. Wind's 340 at 4 again now, so landing with a bit of a tailwind. Yeah, 1,600 is a nice way to round it up. Altimeters, pressure set, inertia set on. We've done radios, flight controls feed correct, instruments checked, flight director is on at the moment. Altitude pre-select. For this, it's 5,000 for the go around. So I'll make a note of that. Heading bug set and armed. Electric trim set for takeoff. Before landing, that doesn't make any sense. You would set your trim based on the approach and the trim that you need. It's a bit of a messy checklist. Right. Autopilot off. We'll leave the flight directors on. It's going to sort out our rate of descent. I'll just try and trim her nicely now. There's a little button there to test the rad out, but that doesn't do anything either. So we won't faff around with it. It's not doing anything for us today. Doesn't matter. Altitude alert, 1 to go. Let's get rid of the music. We need all the focus we can get for this beautiful landscape here. And we're just letting the speed trickle away gently. Down to 150 knots roughly. Round we go, continuing. We've also got to focus on this, and actually rudder trim is almost 1 notch right, so I've just set that and we'll just fly this visual approach. Get my charts ready. 184. It's a very full-on flying experience, this. Rotorua traffic, Osprey 165's TBM correction, Pilatus PC-12 on final, runway 18. Oh yeah, now the decision height's rotating. Right. Gear down and flat 15. Bloody click spot's way too small for this little rad out thing. Looking at the runway down there. I'm just going to set 200 on the decision height, and I'm just going to leave it at that because it's going to stuff everything else up otherwise. So, flap 30, there's our gear indication. And I'll pop the yaw damper off as well. So we've got a 2-knot tailwind at the moment. You can see how the rudder trim at the minute is kind of making us veer left slightly. Just having to do a little bit of work for that. Now we've got a 1-knot tailwind, so it's kind of backing and veering a little bit. You can see it just at the very bottom of our display on the below the primary flight display. That next screen on the left, where it says DTK 184. Just underneath that, you can see what the wind's doing. I'm having to just sort out our trim.
500.
Check. And with this runway, we probably won't need much in the way of reverse prop, to be fair. It's a right turn for the missed approach over the lake, which is why I've got a bit of an offset heading. Okay, over the fence, idle, over the numbers. I'm just holding it a bit quick then. Still flaring. Oh, he's done it again. He's done it again. So if you don't get the speed bang on, you just you go crashing off the side of the runway. And I find that you just about kind of, if you land too quick, that's what happens. What's the statistics now? When I was like, yeah, I think, was it 25% have been successful? Anyway, flaps up. And we'll vacate. Rotorua traffic, Osprey 165 is vacated. 144 foot per minute. It would be interesting to see what New Sky says. Because that says we've got to bounce, but we're on the centre line. What a car crash. Okay, so after landing, condition lever to ground idle. Flap 0, exterior lights, oops, as required. Landing lights can come off, strobes, recog. Lights protection required, radar come off, we'll go transponder standby, trim. It's there, it's a bit too high at the moment, so we'll just reset that for takeoff, like so. Same with rudder trim, we'll make sure that's in the green arc. Tell you what, we've got one more takeoff and landing left. That's set. And then we'll park up here. So I wish you could get rid of these people, because they're standing right where I want to put the plane. I'm tempted to do that grass runway for takeoff as well. Oh well. Part brake on. ECS goes off, which is over here. Plonk. Ding. Little warning. Taxi lights off. Transponder says to squawk VFR. I'll just leave it. I'll turn it off. Cooling and heating as required. And this is where we also now need to think about generators. So,
warning, avionic bus.
Avionics 2, then 1, Gen
Warning,
2,
essential
then
bus.
Gen 1.
Warning, essential bus.
ITT stable. And then from there, condition lever to cut off. Bingo. Then beacon off, EPS switch goes off. I'll just do that there because it's already visible. It's right in front of us. So beacon off, EPS switch off, control wheel installed, which is behind the seat, hidden away. So we click it, it vanishes because it's now, quote, in our hands, and then we can lock it like so. But we don't really need to do the rest because we're going to do a turnaround and start the next flight. Have we got that person landing, that TBM yet? Oh yes, there he is. Just about to see him there, folks. Gabrielle, hello to you. From SWS actually, I think. Welcome to the channel. Lovely landing there. He's in a TBM, but what I've done is I've turned him into a PC-12 just so that you guys can see some of the other liveries that are included. And that Safari Wings one is a really cool one there that they've added in. Oh, that keybind every time gets me. And then it resets these. Ah. By the way, if you click that little lever there, your first officer appears and disappears as well. Fun little fact for you. Right, so let's get rid of that again. Pop that in there. We can pop the standby battery bursts. We'll pop this in here so we can think about our next sector. But first, we want to see how well we've done on New Sky. I reckon we'd do that grass,
System test okay.
that grass runway for takeoff. Why not? So, on New Sky, we'll hit close. 10. Look at that narrow balance of $74 as well. It's almost pointless having these in an airline fleet, isn't it? But we can plan the next leg. In fact, it is part of our award system. Lord of the Tourings, I believe. Airframes all. So we are at Rotorua, and we're going to go to NZNR, Hawke's Bay, aka Napier. Which it won't let me book because it wants it done in sequence. But I think if we book flight, free flight packs, we do 165 again, NZRO, NZNR, yeah, 10, you best believe it. It's because it looks for the touchdown zone. And once your wheels are planted, you can veer off and crash and all sorts of stuff. And it doesn't recognise it at that point. So it's a bit of a saviour for us, really. 15. 100 will give us 30 minutes on the ground. So yeah, actually 1450 should be fine. 45-minute duration. We'll book it and run sim brief flight planning. So like I said, this aeroplane, it takes a lot of getting used to. It's very complex. It's quite different as well. That's our routing for later. This one's the one we want. So 36 for departure. NZNR, RISBU, RNAV 16. Oh, I know, right, Doc? Let's edit this. Hopefully you can see that on your screen with the sim brief bit, but it doesn't always show up properly for it. Right, that's in. We'll change that to... Is this the commuter or is it the executive? I think it's the executive. I did commuter on the way out. I'll click executive this time. I did my finest spin, Birdman. You're lucky I kept it that neat. Some of my landings in this have been ruddy atrocious. But quite a few people have been asking me to fly it on stream. And it is great fun, which is part and parcel of what it's supposed to be able to achieve, isn't it? You know, the person behind the controls might be utterly incompetent or useless, but if he's having fun or she's having fun flying it, then that's all that matters. It's part, you know, it's the experience that counts. And I'm certainly enjoying flying it, that's for sure. 90 nautical miles for this next leg, super short. And we have 36 for departure, as Doc's pointing out. Dulce 3 Romeo, you can see our routing there. I'm just going to scribble that down on my piece of paper. NZRO/36. Cruiser flight level 160. Nice. Dulce 3 Romeo. And then we want the Gender 2 Alpha. NZNR RNAV via RISBU. And again, we'll probably hand fly the last little bit anyway. So that's what it all looks like inside of New Sky, with our weights and things as well, which we need to configure. It's generated. So what I'm going to do is open up the weight and balance menu. I'm just going to make sure this is all set. So block fuel 533. .537, that'll do. Pilots both stay at 77 kilos. That's part of the operating empty weight, I think, from what the sim brief profile says here. Must be reflected in the sim. So we have to leave those both in there. And then we've got cargo 0, payload 452. Jolly good. So total max weight currently 3470, which is actually slightly lower than the estimated takeoff weight that we've got on the load sheet, but that's fine. We shall leave that there. Fetch modified on New Sky, so it opens the OFP. We press this little VATSIM button and it allows us to then head off onto a browser which you guys can't see, and then file this on VATSIM. It's always awkward putting this registration of the aircraft in into my actual flight plan, but hey ho. Fetch from server 16,000. Flight level 160. Right, dive into the flight deck or the cockpit. You climb in. You walk into a flight deck. You climb into a cockpit. I suppose this is a flight deck then, isn't it? Because you walk in. And because we've added the extra weight, we've got a new passenger on board with us. Moro says you should try and getting a silver livery for the PC-12. It looks really nice. This local airport's got a private PC-12 landing every week in a silver livery. It looks amazing. It's not denim, is it, by any chance? Mikhail, hello, buddy. Hope you're getting on alright, mate. We'll go to flight plan. NZRO to NZNR. Napier. Hawke's Bay. And we can go Rotorua. Insert after. We're going to add in that flight plan that we were just looking at a moment ago. So, ACMAG. From there, load airway, Hotel 364, which is the only one that we have here, to OBDEV. So we just find OBDEV. ACMAV. Hotel 364. Well, actually, OBDEV is our only waypoint next, so we can just do insert after, and I'll type in OBDEV. Which isn't actually in there. Interesting. Alright, we'll change plan. We'll just go direct to Gender. Different nav data in this for some reason. And then into Napier. Gender 2 Alpha 16. So, Rotorua. We're going to load procedure. Departure. DOLS 3 Romeo. And we want ACMAG as our transition. Therefore, runway 36, we'll load that in. And it's going to put all the nav data and everything we require in there as well. Followed by our en route waypoint of Gender, Napier, load procedure. And we want the Gender 2 Alpha. I love this. Bloody nightmare. Right, go to the charts. Let's pull in our new flight plan, shall we? And look at the charts to see what we've got. Gender 2 Alpha. And it's runway 16, isn't it? So I'm going to go for Gender 1 Alpha. There we go. So Gender 1 Alpha. That'll do. And we'll load the arrival in. And then it leaves us with an approach to select. So we know we want 16, we want the LNAV, RNAV approach, like so. And we'll load that approach in as well. So that's now all the nav data complete. Happy days. Just to jump back onto the live chat briefly. Rab, yeah, 16. Moro's asking about pronunciation, how to get started on VATSIM. Basically, go to my dedicated playlists specifically for learning VATSIM. There's a whole selection of playlists that I've created for it, and that will hopefully give you the ability to work all of that out quite confidently. 1022, 16,000 and armed. We'll pop the flight director off for now. Beacon. 1549. 1450, so 10 minutes to go. So we then start the plan on New Sky. Got to pull our route in from VATSIM as well, from the server. I'm actually going to delete those waypoints and then refile. 16,000 for our cruise. It's a super short route this as well, so it's the pressure is on to get this right. Seatbelt signs on. Standby buses on. Batteries on. That's all good. That's all on and set. Levers are back. And the beacon light is flashing away. Rightio. So, starter engaged. Super short really, because there's only 6 people that need to get off. So with that, we don't need to worry about anything else. Just dive back in. Back to ground idle. Lovely little regional airport this. So takeoff 004 degrees. Flat 15. Actually, we'll go for a flat 30 takeoff now for today, because this is a shorter runway, isn't it? But we'll do the shaker at flat 15 for now. ECS needs to be on automatic. Mikhail's doing some offline flying just to keep busy. Oslo to EPKK, very nice. It's an incredibly busy time, isn't it? And it's a very difficult time as well. 004 for heading. So we'll set that accordingly. Minimums as well, by the way. We will set that now for the arrival, because it's 364. Oh, EGNM. Thank you. Yeah. I always get those two confused. ENGM and EGNM. 364. So there's our decision height sorted. Down the very bottom right. We'll pop the transponder onto standby. It's going to do a little self-test. We'll sort this out. What if I could change this on the fly? Where's my TDS GTNXI nav manager thingy? No, it's not going to let me. Oh well, we'll have the old nav data. It's a year old. No biggie. Quick refresh of the METAR and the QNH. 1228 is good. 2000 for the squawk. That's armed. That's an automatic. $16,000 set for the pressure panel. And we'll do that shaker test as well. So pusher test. That's all on. Let's pop those off for now, we don't need those. Pusher in. Flat 15. Ground idle. There we go. So now it's in. Interrupt. Job's a good one. Just sort my headset out. It's very tight today. Taxi lights. Recirc fan. Where's the rest of that checklist? I find it's a very difficult checklist to follow. Done, done, done. Pre-selection set. Okay, I think we're there. Temperature's set. Flight controls free and correct. Flight instruments are checked and set. We'll go for flap 30 for takeoff. We want to make sure that the trim is set as well for takeoff, so we're going for, just going to move the trim forwards a bit more, and we've got aileron trim, rudder trim set to the green. Arcs, heading bug is set and armed. Flight directors on. Not sure how much I can rely on that flight director at the moment.
EGPWS system
Test.
OK.
The ground warning system and crew brief complete. Finalise some flap 30 set, lights as required, ice as required, condition lever will go to flight idle in a moment. I think it's time to do a grass takeoff. What have we got here? 705 metre long runway this. Rotorua traffic, Osprey 165 PC-12 from stand 3, taxi to runway 36 grass, via Alpha. So, just having a little look here.
To runway 36 non-grass. I've been told to stay off the grass. Via Delta. We'll hold.
Gabrielle, hello to you, welcome. Strobes, landing. Put the recognition lights on as well. Now what's going to be interesting here is how New Sky is going to handle us using the grass runway. Something a bit different. Good old controls locking there with the sim, with my steering. It bobs around quite cool, doesn't it? The PC-12 at Denham taxis on the grass, and you can kind of see it bobbing about. Andrew's asking about real-world flying in the future, over the next year or so, over 2024, and unfortunately I just can't afford it, so I'm not going to be doing any flying in real life apart from holidays. But yeah, it is what it is. Right. Just going to make sure that nose wheel is straight. I'm going to set the park brake. Transponder. Just going to go through stuff just very briefly to make sure that I'm happy with it all. 2000. So same principles for the takeoff apply. We're in heading mode initially, we'll then switch to nav, we'll go then to speed mode at 150 as before. That's all set, and over 1,000 feet we'll need to sort out the inert SEP as well. I think it's time to go. Sector 2 of 2. You know what we haven't done? Added the flight plan. Bear with. That's a bit better. Hopefully now it's on your screens, folks, on your on the overlay for the stream. That is running, and that is ready. Okay. So, brakes are off. Releasing the nose wheel pressure, 80 knots, and pulling back. Away we go. Positive rate, gear up, 100 knots. Let's go to flat 15. Bit of a crosswind. And Rotorua traffic, Osprey 165, Seb on 1,000 feet.
Rotorua traffic, Osprey 77 lining up and waiting on runway 36.
Flaps all the way up. Pop that closed. We can pop the landing lights and taxi lights off. We'll head out this away. Sort out our climb power here, so just need to sort out pitch and speed and heading. Fuel damper, autopilot, and we'll go to nav mode as well. So 16,000 is armed. We're going to allow the aeroplane to just sort itself out in nav mode. It's going to regain that magenta line for our departure. And we've got our decision altitude set for our next leg as well. So that's all good. Flaps are 0.
Delta 3 Romeo departure.
Done. It's nice to do something different, isn't it? Because we always do these airliner flights, which are fantastic. They are so fun. But sometimes we need a bit more of a challenge, something a bit more unique, something a bit low and slow as well, to give us a bit more of an edge of the seat experience, and learning a new aircraft, and certainly a turboprop, which is very different to what we otherwise would choose. Certainly on this channel, it gives us something extra to think about that's a bit tough as well, and it makes it really enjoyable. I mean, I've got to say, it's not the sort of aeroplane that I tend to enjoy in the sim anyway. I like to go towards the airliners, but I've been having a really good time flying this and learning it and getting to grips with it. I'm not the best at it, I'm the first to admit, but everyone has to start somewhere, and you guys might all be having similar issues with the mistakes that you're making that I'm making today as well. Conversely, some of you have actually been helping me with some of the errors I have been making in the live chat today, and that's really, really helpful as well, so thank you for that. I think this has been updated 2 or 3 times already by SWS. Certainly has been in their sort of content creator lounge / Discord. But yeah, definitely, Doc, this registration is most suitable for today. It's what I'm screaming to myself in my head on a regular basis. Today, tomorrow, we're taking the stress away. We're in the EasyJet A321neo tomorrow, going off to Reykjavik, so nice and easy. Andrew can't hear the sounds of the engine at all. It's because it's a very silent, very majestic flight deck. It should be very easy tomorrow, Doc, yes. Yeah, what if I whack up the speaker sounds a bit more? But even in the flight deck now, not very audible. That's just the nature of what the aeroplane is. It's a very majestic aircraft. Keep that heading bug centered. Right, Nelson. We've got, sorry, Napier. Napier. 113.8 is VOR that we can use. Out of range for that at the moment, that's fine. Yeah, David, they're saying it looks like a nice aeroplane to fly around the Vancouver Island airports. Absolutely. We're in glide range of Rotorua, which is just off our right hand side, which, if I've got the keybinds set right, some views, it's down there. Just underneath this wing pylon. What we got wing view wise? I had to set a few. There she is, Rotorua. And there's the flight deck. Yeah, we've got our work cut out for us today, really, doing stuff like this, and it's kind of angled a bit more a community or side of the community that we might not otherwise focus on. But if you are enjoying today, I hope you are, make sure you press the like button throughout the flights today. And if you've got any tips for me, share away. Gabrielle in the live chat, Gabrielle Scoraria, is from SWS as well, so hello to you, welcome. No doubt I'm making many mistakes. Yeah, Alaska would be a good one for this. One to go. Certainly because, you know, it's mountainous and everything else as well, actually, isn't it, Alaska? And this aircraft's built for the Swiss Alps, and it handles that with sheer simplicity and ease, so it's very, very capable of that sort of stuff. I think Alaska would be perfect for it. Andrew says he's used the Cessna 414 for a few Vancouver Island flights, as he likes a nice old school GA piston engine twin. Sounds like you need a GA piston single. Num2, Sabid, Akmag. It's a long old departure route. What we've done today effectively is zigzag around New Zealand. Just going to sort out our climb power a bit more. Aruzi, hello buddy. Yeah, you could do business aviation flights from Farnborough to places like Geneva. Not sure how long that would take in an aircraft like this, because it is quite slow, isn't it? Standard pressure on both. Juliet, Charlie Mike, good morning buddy, welcome. Joining us for leg 2 of 2 today. Hope you're well. Are you going to FS Expo 2024 this year? I say this year, it's 2024 already in my head it seems. Which I suppose on a bit of a side note, have you guys all been seeing the updates from iniBuilds and PMDG in relation to some of their aircraft? iniBuilds have come out the other day and mentioned it was a teaser photograph, I think, wasn't it, of the A300, saying they're hoping to release by the end of the year and that sort of stuff. So we've got a couple of route ideas ready for that. So if we get the chance to preview that, we'll be diving in to that wonderful old school twin aisle, maybe Monarch Airlines, that sort of thing. So we've got a few ideas for routes for that, which is going to be great. And the PMDG 777 is making good progress through its beta, as is seemingly the 737 MAX, because, as somebody said earlier on, a beta tester was caught flying the MAX around Payne Field on on, I think, VATSIM earlier on, which is interesting. Oh, Andrew, no, what happened? I didn't see it myself. Although I saw he was flying the Concorde. If you want to purchase this, the PC-12 from SWS, the PC-12 Legacy, there's a link to this in the live stream description as well. It'll take you to the Contrail website and you'll be able to pick it up from there. What's next? We've got a busy approach ahead of us. 163. Yeah, me too, Ian. That's why New Zealand's a safe bet for us, as folk in the UK. So far away, they're all in bed. It gives us opportunity to kind of throw ourselves into some stressful situations, but still be on the VATSIM network. Oof, Andrew, my goodness. Yeah, that does sound quite tight, doesn't it? It's a little whoopsie moment, I think. Try and get back up properly here. And yes, Doc, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, Fly-by-Wire also was sharing a couple of A380 pictures yesterday. So I'm looking forward to seeing what actually ends up at Flight Sim Expo 2024 this year. I'm hoping Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, there'll be sneak previews of that to look forward to and delve into. I'm hoping there'll be some significant progress in relation to the...
Warning, cabin pressure.
Ooh. Oh, it's because I forgot ECS. Okay, well, that's got rid of that. Happy days. Just saved everybody. Thought I was going to have to get the O2 mask out then. It would be a flight in an aircraft I'm unfamiliar with without something going horribly wrong. Yeah, the Fly-by-Wire A380 is looking fantastic. I'm looking mega impressed actually with what they've been able to do with the modelling of it, the way it sits on the tarmac, that kind of sweep of the wings. Really remarkable bit of work from those guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing that be completed properly soon. But first, I think we've got the iniBuilds A300 600 variant. Possibly, well, the Max, the 737 Max from PMDG we know is coming, and we know it's coming at some point in the future. We just don't know when. And we know the PMDG 777 is coming. I think both of those at some point early 2024, but we're ready for them most definitely, aren't we? Very much looking forward to those. And we've still got the Just Flight A300B2, haven't we? Was it the B4? The original A300. They're working on that, the folks at Just Flight. We've not heard much progress in relation to that for a little while. And they're also busy working away at the Fokker F70 and the F100. My goodness. I'm not feeling with it this week, I've got to say. Small little things of like trying to, my memory just kind of disappears off, and I forget where I am sometimes with what I'm doing. But it's been very, very busy. Picking up the Napier, NZNR. It is Napier, isn't it? Yeah. It's picking up the Napier VOR 1138. And I've tuned the VOR in there just because, well, that might go active with the quote-unquote VOR approach, which we're not going to fly. I just want to see it moving and doing something. And I'll put that back on automatic. And yeah, they're still working on the Avro RJ. No idea about that too. And Andrew's saying the 757's also due early 2024, he thinks, but I've not heard anything like that myself, to be honest. I know they're still working at it, Bluebird simulations. Whether they are in a position where, you know, it's going to be released in early 2024, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% myself. I don't think it's going to come out. In fact, didn't they say it was going to be near to December 2024? That's just gone into my head for some reason. I'm sure Bluebird Simulations said they're looking at December 2024. Albeit a little while back now. Some of you guys might certainly remember better than me. Where's our top of descent? We don't have one in this bit. Ah, upcoming flight flag leg not supported, no VNAV. That'll be why. Ooh, Rab, very exciting. Can't get much more crash course than this though. I say do it. What's the worst that can happen? Oof. Jacob, it depends what other what my system spec is. You know, it's pointless buying a 4K 160Hz 32-inch monitor if I've got a 1080p level graphics card. Aruzi says, I'm surprised Quality Wings 787 hasn't been mentioned, although I'm not surprised. They're being quite quiet and cushy about their products and not very open about the development of products. I think they're non-existent. And that's why I think people haven't been talking about the Quality Wings stuff. I think most people have just given up with them, given up hope, given up waiting, various other forms of giving up. I think people have just chosen to forget about it, to be honest. When they said back in August 2020, or was it August, September, October 2020, they said, hello, we're Quality Wings, we're going to release our 787 in June 2021. And now we're in December 2023. Okay, Ian. Well, I better descend then. What do we need to go down to? 2,300 feet. We're super professional here. 2-3. Yeah, I think they're gone. I think they're non-existent. There we go. Help if I arm the altitude first. Duh. Silly me. The little quirks of this, if you're not familiar with it, you kind of miss one click which actually changes the mode of the flight deck quite significantly, and it's you've got to be wary of all of that. Hence many mistakes. Hopefully it saves you guys making them. Gender, looks like we have a discontinuity. Then Akura at an elbow. Oh, it's there. Arrow up. Okay, that's good, that's fine. Right, down we go. Seatbelt signs look swish. Was it Digital Flight Dynamics, Andrew? NZNR. So we've got 6,000 meters visibility at Napier. Winds 230 degrees at 2 knots, 6,000 metres visibility in light rain, broken cloud 4,500 feet, overcast 7,000. Temperature is 16 degrees Celsius. The dew point also 16 degrees Celsius, and the QNH 1022. Although I've pressed B and it says 1023 now, so I'll go with that. We've got our decision altitude of 364 popped into the bottom right. And we can expect rain indeed. Airport elevation is 6 feet, so we're going to spin the wheel down to sea level. And we'll make sure that now goes on automatic, because I said it a minute ago but forgot to click it. And we'll work our way down. Good morning, Matthew, welcome. The PMDG 777 will be in beta for a couple of months. PMDG doesn't rush their products and does actual beta testing. Absolutely. It will release when it releases. That's probably the easiest way to put these things out there, isn't it? Gender at or above 7,000 by ATC. That's Gender now. So we are on profile. Dare I say. We're quite high, but this thing can descend very effortlessly, quite quickly as well, so confident that we're not going to have a problem there. 106 degrees now to our next waypoint. The Napier traffic Osprey 165 is Pilatus PC-12 inbound 10,000 feet QNH 1023 for 2,300, expecting RMP to visual approach runway 16. Will report turning final, Napier. Down towards the beautiful New Zealand coast of the North Island. And I will forget, so I'm going to put that on now. One of those things that ideally I'd have a little keybind set to sort out for me. Norwegian Theatres, hello. A lock approach, basically the same as an ILS, but don't expect a glide slope to work. It's probably the easiest way to explain it. Risboo, max 210. Just going to add a bit of power now just to sort out the speed. And to be honest, I might hand fly the rest of this again. It lends itself to kind of wanting to hand fly, doesn't it? We're set to talk about 19 to 20. Right, let's turn it off. So,
Napier traffic,
quick check of this.
77 overhead Gender for
Jolly good.
runway 16, number 2.
Autopilot off! So that's the noise we didn't hear earlier when I pressed the off switch on my yoke. But we're now in control of the aeroplane, it's my controls. And while I remember, I'll pause the music. Because I've got this ridiculous habit of leaving the music running until it's too late and I'm really focusing on approach, and I realise that I need to focus a bit more with it. Right, where's our trim, rudder trim? We've got to set this a click to green, which does change the aeroplane's dynamics a little bit. Letting that speed trickle away. We've got different waypoints on here compared to what we've actually got in the sim, so I am conscious as well of the terrain around and below us. This looks absolutely spectacular though, doesn't it? That sun is in just the right position. Oh, ATR, Robert, I love the ATR 72600, the one that's included in MSFS. Bring those throttles back a little bit, direct 185 in 6 seconds. Napier traffic, Osprey 165 is turning final 3 miles. There's the runway. Sorting that out nicely. Should change the pitch. Got the Toby eye tracker on, and I'm hoping it's not too confusing for you guys. We'll speed down to 150 thereabouts. It's 3.5 miles, so I wasn't far off. Gear down and flat 15. Sort that out. Missed approach is to 3. Job's a good one. Let's get rid of the Toby eye tracker because it's highly distracting. Oh, it's got the old RNAV approach which brings us offset along the coast. I remember doing that a long time ago actually. Happy days. So we're a bit below, but that's fine. We're just easing down to about 1,000 feet, and then we're just going to sort out the altitude. Now this has got typically a bit more of a nose down attitude than we otherwise would be used to in an airliner as well, so it does make your point of reference seem very alien in comparison to say an A320, and again that's all part of the landing technique which I am still trying to get right. Not sure what that is. It's like a weird thing that's going down the screen there, very bizarre. So about 1,000 foot. Lap 30's fine. Again, we probably won't use reverse prop, and just letting it roll down through 100 into a descent as we get on the glide path. We're following those pappies as best as we can. There we are, 2 red, 2 white. So just gently down on the nose. I'm also now going to get rid of the yaw damper. And it was about 9 to 10 on the torque, roughly. So if I just set 10 now, as you can see on the display, it was 9.910 as it settles. The airplane does want to sink a little bit, but we've got a bit of speed there, so what we'll do is we just pitch up to try and get 90 knots back. Keeping an eye on our speed. 50, 60,
500.
90. So just over 100 still. Bring that torque back to near to 9.
Napier traffic, Osprey 77, 5 miles.
Trimming accordingly.
16 for 2.
We'll aim for more 9 on the torque now. That's a bit more like 90 knots. TDS GTNXI's got ready for the missed approach. We are focusing on this arrival though. I'm going to focus more on the torque as well, just bringing that power down to nearer to bang on 9 as best as I can. This is a bit more stable and a bit smoother than earlier, wasn't it? Here we go. Holding it, holding it, holding it. And we don't need reverse prop. Bam. Yeah, buddy. And just gently on the brakes. I have no idea where we need to vacate. I am lost. Yes, it's all about speed. If you approach too quickly, as we did on the earlier arrival, then the speed will run away from you. It gets a bit tricky to manage. But if you get the speed just right, and it does take a lot of getting used to because it's a quirky aircraft with a lot to learn, and it does take a bit of getting used to, as I keep stressing, then actually it's all alright. And you can just about get it down nice and smooth. But the key, as Mr. C. Stone has said in the live chat, thank you for your tips, buddy, the key is setting the torque right, getting the speed right on approach and being nice and stable.
Warning, trim.
And Osprey 165 is vacated. Oh, I remember this scenery from last time. There's no taxiway. We'll have to go down that, whatever that is there. That's what we'll do. Flaps up, we're going off-road. Or as the adventure bikers would say, we're adventuring. I went down a curb the other week because I'd parked somewhere, and the only way to get off from this row of shops and their car park was to go down the curb. And I was like, yeah, adventuring. I don't know why. Right, no bounces that time, and a decent touchdown. So I'm hoping we get a good score. I think it's a little bit off the centre line, so maybe not a 10. But I'm not too worried about that. We'll pop the seatbelt signs off because it's up to them if they want to get up and get thrown about. We'll try and position ourselves so we can watch this landing. One's enough for today, Doc. So like I say, like my arrivals in this, my landings and things have been a little bit wishy-washy. That's because I'm a bit rubbish at flying the aeroplane and getting used to it quite a bit still. There we are, that's a bit of a better location. Set park brake. Here we go. Oh yes, nicely done. Pro pilot right there. Right, let's sort out the condition levers. Ground idle. And we've got to put it into that ground beta as well, just slightly. Although we might get a bit of rolling resistance on the grass here. Just leave a bit of power in. Okay, checklists. So after landing, condition leader is ground idle, flaps are 0, exterior lights as required, ice protection off, radar is on standby. Trim set for takeoff. So we've got to do elevator and rudder trim. Thankfully we can do both at the same time. We'll just taxi the grass across to park. It's not in the scenery, sadly. And then we'll shut down proper. I wonder if... no, because GSX doesn't really know about the plane, does it? So, tell you what, we'll park where this guy is flagging us down to park. Put the taxi lights off. Really? Well, I'm not on the centre line. Let's ignore this guy for a moment. There's those linked aileron and rudders that we were talking about earlier on. Oh, so close. Ah, that'll do us. Okay, to the checks. Park brake set, ECS off. Bing. Taxi lights off, transponders on VFR, we'll ignore that. Avionics off. 1,
Warning.
2.
Avionics bus.
Gen
Warning.
2.
Essential bus.
Gen 1.
Warning. Essential bus.
ITT is stable. Condition lever to cut off. Beacon light goes off. Little freeze there as the sim is sorting itself out. Beacon lights off. EPS switch off. Control wheel lock installed as we did earlier on. Grab it, stick it in. And battery switch can go off with NG, which it already is, look, it shuts down pretty quick. NG below 10. So, battery 2, battery 1. Oxygen, switch that off. As well as the one over here. And we have chocks out yet. Oh, look at that, chocks are on. So we can now release the parking brake. Jolly good. Do we turn the beacon light off? Doesn't matter anyway, the battery light's off, isn't it? Hey. Right, we'll open the door. Bosh. And there we have it, folks. The SWS PC-12 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Very quirky, lots to learn, very, very enjoyable indeed. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this very different flight to what we otherwise would do. Bit interesting, learning the plane still. Got a long way to go before I'm confident with it, but that's the part and parcel of these sorts of add-ons, isn't it? Because we get used to in the sim, we get used to our favourite aircraft and the flows of that aircraft, and that becomes our little safety blanket and our little comfort zone, and we like to stick with that because it's different, because it's not different rather. Whereas this throws us straight out of our safety zone, our comfort blanket aeroplane. For me, the 737 or the A320, and it sticks us into an aeroplane which I'm not used to, and that I have to try and learn all of the quirks of, and there are many, and it gives us a bit more excitement in the sim, doesn't it? It just gives us a bit more of a fresher experience and all that sort of stuff. So, very impressed with what they've done. It's a really enjoyable aeroplane. There is a lot to learn with it, and that's all part and parcel of the enjoyment of what SWS have created with this aeroplane. So hopefully you guys agree as well, those of you who have got this. If you did want to buy it, the link is in the description for the stream. It will take you over to the Contrail website. And yeah, Ian, great to have you flying along as well, buddy. I hope you've enjoyed it. Well, you said it was fun, so I'm glad you did enjoy it indeed. Join us tomorrow. We are wearing orange, and we're taking things a little easy tomorrow. We're in the Airbus A321neo, Latin VFR, with the Horizon Simulation freeware mod, and we're flying EasyJet from London Gatwick to Reykjavik in Iceland to finish our streams this side of Christmas. In the meantime, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.